I am Sybil Wilkes, and the guys are back with me today. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up, Damon? What's up, Sybil? How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Feeling okay. Weather's starting to come out consistently. Sun shining. I went for a walk 3 days in a row.
And you guys are supposed to get some 70-degree weather maybe this week in
Yeah, rumor has
Chicago?
it. Fingers crossed. We at the lake, as they say.
Okay. All right. And Damon, I know we'll talk about the things that have been going on. How are things at the house? You regaled us with the whole estrogen overload last week.
Well, the prodigal son has come home from the military, so he's been here and balancing that out a little bit this week.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah,
that's definitely a good thing.
yeah. So we just downloaded or paid for the Spider-Man movie. That's going to be movie night tonight on
Oh,
Amazon Prime.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the Batman? Is that only in theaters still, or can you have that streamed as
That-
well
I'm pretty sure that's only in theaters.
so they can
Also, the
continue to?
internet has made everything free now. You just gotta know where to look.
Okay, so tell us, what can we get for free there, young Cam?
Don't
It was
tell
a
us, young Cam. Don't get yourself
the feds are watching.
right.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. The feds are really watching. Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well, okay. Well, thought maybe you might want to give us a little sample of your technical wizardry, but all right. Okay.
Yeah, he'd have to send it in Russian.
uh, Karen, I know that your sister will not be joining us this week because you guys will be celebrating a very special birthday in your house.
Yes, it is my mom's 60th birthday tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Mom. And so we're taking her out to dinner. She loves oysters, so we're just going to take her out for some oysters at Prime and Provisions.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, it must have been the coffee I had earlier. Awesome. But you guys are going to do the whole dinner, not just 13 oysters for for $25, and then say, okay, let's go take it on back to the house, right?
I mean, I'll need my own 13 oysters, so there'll probably be 36 oysters.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And then you'll head back to the house after the 36 oysters?
Yeah, yeah. Head back to the house, see the family. We're keeping it a little low key. I know she's set to do some traveling. One of her friends treated her to a bit of a vacation later on in May, so
Oh,
uh,
nice.
it's looking to be a good birthday for her.
That's awesome. That's
That,
awesome.
that's so funny because I forget you're my son's age, which means I'm close to your mother's age, which means your mother is probably gonna drop you off and run to the family den on Stony Island Avenue.
Fun town, fun town.
Right. I'm trying to take her in the house. She going for some stepping and some more wings.
and, and
Yeah,
and maybe some 1942. I'm not
You
mad at
know?
that. I'm
yeah.
not mad
She
at that.
loves to step. Absolutely, she loves it.
There you go.
So I think Damon has got the routine down there. What to expect for the
Yeah.
big birthday celebration. Thanks for the oysters, kids. Mama got to run.
Adios. Won't be back till late.
Right.
Don't wait up for me. That's awesome. That is well. Wish her a happy birthday for us. It's in the newsletter, and we will continue to celebrate Miss Crystal and really the great job she has done with her children. So, let's talk about what's going on in the news. This is topical time, gentlemen, and Damon. Let's talk about your weekend in Atlanta.
Oh, wonderful weekend in Atlanta. Atlanta Comedy Theater owes me nothing. A lot of Chicago people popped out, and my sister Danielle put together a group of 30 with Drew Sidor. She's a Real Housewife. My sister works with her. Dr. Contessa from one of those housewife shows.
Oh, tell her we
Uh,
said hi. She's one of our medical consultants, but we haven't talked to her in a while.
yeah,
Um,
she came out. Chef Jannard also
oh
popped
yeah.
in on me. Yeah, and then of course a host of friends and family. My DJ Dollar Bill. And then on Sunday, the OG Comedy Consortium showed
Mhm.
up because it
That's what I
was
heard.
J. Anthony Brown, Don D.C. Curry, George Wilborn, Steve Brown, Dexter Tucker, that's Chris Tucker's brother, popped out, and it was just fun. And I recorded an album, so
Oh,
you'll
and
be,
that.
yeah, And while we were there, we did a little work. Yeah. So my next
Okay.
album, which I think I'm going to entitle "Still at It." Yep, I'm still at it. Will be out soon after we do the edits because I said a few things that cannot make it to the public. Got a few things I got to chop out of there because we had this one situation where this young lady was berating the waitress because she didn't tell her that a bottle of water was $4. So she got a whole track on the album when I
And
finished
she
with her.
didn't know?
Whether she knew or not, if $4 is throwing off your budget, you shouldn't be out. You should be in. That's a gallon of gas, right?
Yeah.
To be yelling in the middle of my recording, but she gonna be on the album because I spent 5 minutes on her
Alone, huh?
I need
Oh,
the
yeah.
director's cut right now.
Oh yeah, you do. You need the outtakes.
Yeah.
For real. So, Damon, this obviously is not your first, and it won't be your last. But what process goes into it, and how do you determine what city you're going to do it in, and working on the show, and why Atlanta, that kind of thing?
Well, they have a gentleman, the label that I worked with previously. The first album was he's partners with the owner of the club, and so Atlanta gives me a mix of not only down home Atlanta ATLians, but a whole bunch of Chicago people. So it was a good mix. It felt right the first time, and it's so convenient, So this time we got video and audio, and most times people won't listen to an entire album in its entirety. So I could jump around. We did 4 shows, recorded all of them. So it's just the tracks. Once they stream it, it'll be mostly tracks on Pandora and Spotify, iTunes, and things of that nature. But it just felt right, and the venue is big enough to have that loud audience, but small enough and intimate enough to give me what I needed from them. So it was beautiful.
Nice, yeah. It was good to hear from J. Anthony Brown that he made it out. He has been under the weather, and that was a good indication that he is back on his legs, and had a great time with DC Kirk, and said, for the record, don't seat him with George Wilborn anymore. They couldn't enjoy the comedy for George talking the whole time.
Trust me. And I said the same thing while I was waiting to go up. I was sitting over there and I'm like, George, stand down. But he was so happy to see them, because they didn't know, I know DC didn't know George lives in Atlanta now. So they were having a ball. But yeah, he wants George. Next time, Jay, he was like, I know you thought I wasn't going to make it, did you? And I was like, the odds on were that you wouldn't, Jay, but I was very happy and I felt proud and impressed that J. Anthony Brown came out to my show because Jay don't do a whole lot of that. And he definitely did it for me. He stayed masked up, stayed in his corner, but he stayed for the whole thing. And then in true grown old man fashion, he locked his keys in his car.
Love it.
How does that happen anymore?
Yeah, your car shouldn't even let you do that, but somehow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's our
So the locksmith, he had his granddaughter with him. Shouts out to her for sitting and putting up with the whole situation because she was stuck in the corner booth with us, and George was on 27.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Well, congratulations. And we can't wait to hear the completed product and, of course, continued success in this. We really are. So, and if you haven't seen Damon, where are you going to go next? Where are you headed?
Check it out. I'm going to New York this weekend. I'm going to join Flame and Sherry at Caroline's.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So I can go work with Sherry and work on her set. And, I'm up here as well. And, hang out. Then I'm going to the taping because Sherry's hosting next week. And sit in on that whole situation with John and everybody.
So I have been invited to be on Sherry. I'm with Sherry on the Wendy Williams show next Tuesday.
Right. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. So
I'm staying.
I'm excited about that and nervous at the same time. I've never been on Wendy. We've been backstage. We did the show from there, but I'm so glad to be with my friends Sherry Shepard and John Murray, and I thank them for the invite. So that'll be
that's
Tuesday.
awesome. Yeah, I'm sticking around in. I was going to leave Monday evening.
Cool. Do you know what time that's going to air?
It's local, whatever it is in your area. So like here in Dallas-Fort Worth, it's at 11 o'clock on Fox. It's a syndicated show. So I think it's probably on Fox there, Damon.
Yeah, I believe so. Or it might be on BET here.
Oh, okay.
But check your local listings. We'll make sure you find out Monday and let everybody know on Tuesday.
Absolutely.
So if I stay there, no, I'm coming back. I'll be home in time to do this Tuesday.
Okay.
Will you?
That's the question. That's where there's a little juggling and maybe some things going on behind the scenes for us as well in determining. So we'll probably get in time on Monday to get to record that show, and I'm not sure about Tuesday, but we will.
Sybil, back on the road. Damon, back on the road.
I miss the road. I really do. So it'll be.
Now I gotta go somewhere.
I know, right? Well, you've been on the
Come to
road,
New
young
York.
player.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'll slide on y'all in New York.
Okay, come on.
Looking to party.
That's right.
You was out making decisions on dates during the Omicron.
At the height, young player.
Hey, the hustle don't stop.
Okay.
Yogi, I need a flight for one to New York.
You know what? She would do it for you. Not for me, Khameron, but she would do it for you. Okay. Damon, we have 3 people want to mention 2 Chicagoans and the passing of some giants in their business. First of all, Renee Poussaint. Do you remember watching her growing up in Chicago? Renee Poussaint is the award-winning journalist. She worked at CBS Channel 2 Chicago in the 1970s. She has passed away at her home in Washington, D.C. She was 77 years old. She was a part of the early days, people who may or may not remember the early days of the incredible team of Bill Curtis and Walter Jacobson. She was one of the weekday evening anchors alongside the great Harry Porterfield and Bob Wallace and others, John Calloway. That notes that she was a New York City native and a graduate of Sarah Lawrence, and she was doing her doctoral work in comparative literature when she decided to change positions, change the direction of her job trajectory. And she told the Chicago Tribune her students said they got most of their information from television and not interested in the literature she was trying to teach them. And so she decided she needed to learn about television. And she went to graduate school and she became a journalist for television, a television journalist. And she was one of those people who also stood up for people, for the little guy, and representing Black people, women especially, because she told the white folks at CBS Channel 2 that they were not paying attention to the women that were in the newsroom that could do a very capable job of anchoring and telling the stories on the streets. It was a job at the time for white guys. And so she went in and told them, and they slowly made that transition to encourage more minorities and women to get in there to not only be on the street reporting, but also to do the anchoring jobs. And then she moved from Chicago and went to the East Coast. And a lot of people in Washington, D.C. And along the East Coast may remember her as well, the great Renee Poussaint. And sorry to hear of her passing at the age of 77. Then Purvis Spann, the blues man.
Yeah.
Yes.
A giant. People don't know in Chicago, Purvis Spann, first of all, I'll let you go ahead and tell that.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
He was a very shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
So not only was he a radio personality, he also had an access television show, which became very popular with a good friend of mine, Carl Wright, who you all know is the preacher on Soul Food. But he also ended up buying a radio station and naming it WVON. And WVON was the voice of the Negro.
Yep.
A lot of people still don't know that that's what VON stands for. Not only that, it launched the careers of people like Herb Kent, who went on to be to the Radio Hall of Fame, and Purvis Spann, the blues man. I mean, legendary Chicago.
Yeah, indeed. And they called themselves the Good Guys.
The Good Guys. E. Rodney Jones.
Rodney. Yes. E. Rodney Jones. My dad used to have their albums.
Yeah, we had it.
The Good Guys album, right? And so it was the music and the guys just, their repartee and what have you. And his daughter, Melanie Spann Cooper, is also the broadcast executive and owner of WVON to this day.
Indeed.
And he was also a talent scout of sorts. because he had a club and where a lot of performances were made their debut in the public, including the Jackson Five.
Oh,
Yeah, wasn't that maybe the Burning
The
Spear?
Burning
Or,
Spear was the name of it. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
A lot of history. He said he told in an interview with the Sun Times about 10 years ago, he said, "I'm the first Black American that built a 50,000-watt radio station on United States soil.
Wow.
And I built it in Memphis." This was in the 80s. "And I could listen to my station in Memphis riding up and down the Dan Ryan Expressway."
Hey, there it is.
Incredible. A
Yeah,
giant.
he really was. The blues man was one of a kind, and he and Herb Kent, and I know the other guys are having an incredible jam session in heaven as we speak. Yeah, so thank you for all the good times. And a lot of people, said they grew up, or he kept them company at night, overnights, as he did his shift. And lastly, this is another sad death to report. Khaleesi's husband, photographer Mike Mora, has died at the age of 37 after a short battle with stomach cancer, stage 4. And he confirmed his battle with stomach cancer back in October. And in a series of posts shared on Instagram, he chronicled his life since the diagnosis, sharing that the doctors gave him 18 months to live. He was 37 years old. Khaleesi and Mike Moore had a 1-year-old daughter that they welcomed in September of 2020, a 6-year-old son, Shepard, and Khaleesi is also mom to a 12-year-old son whom she shares with her ex-husband, Nas, and just a tragic loss there, obviously, as well. One more thing that I do want to talk about, and I'll quickly go through this, a couple more things. The second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, the vice president's husband, has now tested positive for COVID. This just comes a couple of days after President Obama announced that he had tested positive for COVID. The vice president is still negative, and they were supposed to attend a White House event tonight, but they will not be doing that. But he says he's feeling okay. Just, one of those pesky tests they had to take. And so we'll see what happens with that.
That's when you got a big house, when you test positive and your spouse don't.
and don't forget, Damon, she's been traveling the world. That's the kind of life they have.
Kamala's been like all over.
And in Europe, in the midst of the Ukrainian crisis. And so
she came right home and went to her part of the house. And he was in his man cave, and he probably caught it at Walgreens. I don't know what else he does, so maybe.
Not so much at the school where he teaches, but okay.
Thank you.
There is HBCU basketball in the postseason, you guys, and as we speak, there is Texas A&M at Corpus Christi is along with playing Texas Southern. They usually let the winners of the different collegiate conferences for the HBCUs. They usually get the first games, and they're first in and first out, unfortunately. But they are playing right now, and that is Texas A&M against Texas Southern. And that is on True TV, if you're able to find that on your television, as well as the other Texas A&M versus Alcorn State. That will be played tonight, and the tip-off is at 8 o'clock Central Time, and that is at Reed Arena in College Station.
Okay.
And
you got to nail that all when you say Alcorn.
Alcorn, because I did notice a young Black woman on the news today and was saying that Alcorn was going to be playing. And I was like,
you don't want to do that, and let me tell you why I know.
How do you know?
So, there was a Chicago football classic at Soldier Field.
Yes.
And the promoters of it allowed me to go out and announce my show at halftime on the field on the PA system. And I don't know who they were playing. It was probably usually it's Jackson. So let's say it was Jackson State
or Grambling.
And I said, "Where my Jackson State people at?" Hey, they went nuts. And where my Alcorn people? Boo!
That was you?
Because it's Alcorn. Yeah.
Alcorn.
I remember that.
It's one L, but you got to say that L is all.
All corn. Absolutely right. You're right.
Yep, that was me.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I remember that distinctly.
Did you boo with everybody else, Khameron?
Yeah, I did. I was just there. I did not know what was going on, but I was like, man, I feel so sorry for whoever that MC is.
And one more thing, we are over time, but I do want to mention the HBCU women's basketball. The Jackson State Lady Tigers and Howard Lady Bison will be making their playoff game debuts, and that will be Howard will take on Incarnate Word in the first of the four 2022 NCAA Division I basketball championship. That will be Wednesday night in Columbia, South Carolina. And the Jackson State Lady Tigers will travel to meet the Lady Bengal Tigers in Baton Rouge on Saturday.
Cool.
Nice job.
All right. So we want to make sure all those bases are covered. And now we move on to our question of the day. And
what's really going on?
What's really going on? Exactly. Thank you. So I brought this to your want to bring this to your attention, Damon, and this is for you, with the question hopefully opening up to everybody. Rapper T.I. is now doing stand-up, Damon. First, your thoughts, Damon, about T.I.'s new hobby or career change.
You know, a lot of traditional comics have had a little pushback about that because he's getting slots because he's a known entity. But I challenge anyone who thinks you can just jump out in the world and start doing stand-up to go ahead and try it. So I applaud his efforts, and I'm not opposed to it. And a lot of people that will try it will only try it once or twice. So for him to be still doing it, go for it, T.I.
Yeah. He has gotten some pushback because he's not headliner status yet. But he went after the headliner, Godfrey, right?
Yeah, and that's protocol, and that's some comedy club tradition stuff. After the headliner goes up, usually no one is supposed to go up afterward. And I wouldn't have been offended by it if it happened. Like if I finished my show and I said, thank you, good night, unless I was selling merchandise. If I was selling merchandise and I'm waiting on the people to come out and he's holding him by going up behind me, that's a problem. But, either way it goes, I heard that he had asked permission from Godfrey beforehand, but then Godfrey went to his podcast and lambasted him for it. Yeah. But I don't know that to be true. So I'm just saying what I heard about the situation. But protocol is if you're doing a guest spot, you do that early and you get out the way. Nobody is ever supposed to go up behind the headliner, but it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And there were some feelings and folks were feeling some kind of way about this, but that is not for the weak. That really isn't. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you say and how easy, or how funny your friends say you are.
Right.
And let me tell you, there's no lonelier feeling than being on stage when your jokes are not working, especially if you're bombing. It's even bad when they don't even have to boo. When people just stop listening, and then they start checking their bill and talking about how funny than that, and you can hear them because it's quiet. And nobody enjoys comedians bombing more than J. Anthony Brown.
That's right.
He loves to see a good bomber.
Oh my God. It's two things. He loves to see people fall, and he loves to see people fall on their face on stage.
He loves to see a good bomber. Boy. And it's funny too because he has the most anxiety of any professional comedian I've ever known before he goes on stage. In fact, when comedians are doing too much time, Jay will light him himself. Jay was ready to light my host, and he wasn't even going up Sunday. He was like, "Hey man, how much time they doing?" I said, "Well, after she finishes, Kiana Dancy was my host. It's a guest spot. I always like to let young comics, when you come to town, they just want to impress you, and I let her go up. And then there was the feature act. He said, so it's 2 more people?
Wow.
Boy, he was losing it.
And Kiana's a good one. She used to, and for folks who don't or may recognize the name and not can't picture, she was one of the hosts of Sister Circle.
Yes.
Back in the a few years ago, and so out of Atlanta. And
indeed.
Good for you, Damon. Good for you. All right. So here's the question of the day for you guys, as well as for those who are watching and listening. If you could, what career or job that is so out of your range you might like to try? And let's put it this way: if you knew you couldn't fail, or
Mm.
but really realistically, if there's something that you thought, man, that I should have gone for the stand up, when I could have, Cameron, or maybe I should have, joined the circus, or maybe I should have gone to medical school, or whatever it is your heart's desire was, or you had the choice between two things and you chose to go in one direction instead of the other. What is that thing or things that you wish that you had tried? And maybe it's not too late, Cam. I think especially someone at your tender age, you can probably afford to bounce around a little while longer, and get this other career started. What do you think?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sybil, especially because last week, you said explicitly that I was past my prime. So thank you.
Oh, well, I was talking sexually, son. I wasn't talking about your career prime.
Yeah, that was an overall male bash right there,
Yeah,
Cameron.
it was not for
man.
you. It was
Just
not
got
for
the bat.
But he did take it real personally, didn't he?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, no, the hell I'm not. Hell, I took it personally.
I would, if given the opportunity, a lot of people say that they wouldn't, but I would take a shot at being president of the United States.
Well, you're right in there. That's perfect opportunity. So how would you start? Would you start it? Would you do a Donald Trump? Would you start it president, or would you start somewhere and work your way up?
To get the respect of your party and your countrymen, you got to work your way up.
Would you do a Barack Obama and start for congressman and lose, and then come back and go for a state senator, and then from state senator go to a U.S. senator?
Yeah, I would start at the ground level.
Well, you're already a community activist, so
right. Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to do it now, but yeah, I would start from the ground level, work my way up, and when I'm about 60, I would go for it. And reparations, first thing on the docket.
Amen. Because it's probably not going to happen till then, Cameron.
No.
God bless them, but I don't know that it's going to happen anytime before then, in another 30 years or so. So
it would be that, or in a Olympic snowboarding athlete. I've always wanted.
Oh, snowboarding.
Yeah.
So are you good at it?
No.
Okay. So that would definitely be one. If you knew you couldn't fail, you would try that.
If I knew I couldn't fall, let's just put it that way.
And are you a cold weather sports person though?
I like the cold weather, especially in Chicago, because all of the rambunctious activities of my kinfolk die down.
Okay.
So I love the cold. I love how quiet it gets. The snow is just beautiful. So yeah, I would definitely go for it.
Are you a skier?
I tried skiing once and I thought it was lame, and that's why I was like, yo, I got a snowboard, man.
Okay. So you're more of an X Games kind of guy.
Yeah, I used to love that stuff as a kid. I used to love it.
Yeah. Damon, what about you? Because people may not know about Damon's extensive career aspirations. And iterations. Yes, thank you. Damon has been a businessman. He's owned a Subway shop. He's had a career in music, and known as Gucci D. And so, and it's kind of interesting, the flip flop between you and T.I. You did the music thing. You were a rapper and known as Gucci D, and then segued into other areas. So, what about you? Is there something now that you're thinking, maybe if I could, I would?
Sybil, and I think I can still pull it off. I'm gonna go with male exotic dancing.
I knew it was coming.
I think I call myself Chocolate Snake, and or out of respect and in reference to my man Black Mamba.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Black Mamba too.
One thing I like to travel, so maybe a pilot. You know, my father was an Air Force pilot. Yeah, so maybe if I could fly planes, that would be dope. But I got, I got this narcolepsy, so
there's that.
if I didn't, I can't drive from here to Cleveland without taking a nap on the road. So
and
I don't know if you would
drive anywhere, Damon.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all would have trusted me behind in the cockpit. But I think that'll be an exciting career endeavor. I never really thought about Plan B after this point because, as you say, I bounced around a little bit. But from maybe a real estate developer. I like to be at the helm of projects, not once they're finished, the process of it. Like, so when I opened my Subway, I was cool with going out and getting permits and blueprints and the design and loading in the equipment and purchasing equipment and getting all the paperwork and getting the account set up. But then when it came time to be in there making sandwiches, I said, I think I need to go open another Subway. That should be my job, opening Subways. Yeah, not working it. So when I found I had to bake the bread and watch the register, I'm like, no, this is not the life for me.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I think for people who are just joining us, and we'd love to hear from you, if you could, like T.I. and like Damon has done, and as Khameron perhaps is thinking, if you could change your career, your career path, or the job that you have, that maybe a lot of your range, maybe something you often thought about but just kind of put off to the side, what would you like to try? What if you could? What would you undertake? And Reggie Barnes said being an announcer at a game. I need to be a little bit more specific, Reggie.
Sportscasters.
A sportscaster. Okay, so we'll call it a sportscaster. But are you
go with either sportscaster or he the guy at the arena, for three. Now checking in.
or the guy who says, and ladies and gentlemen, where are my Alcorn fans at?
And now, the starting lineup.
That's right. That's right. Joylyn Wright says she'd like to run for Congress. I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that. And she's on Facebook saying that Travis Roughhouse Party Bus Ruffin. Just the name on a business card, it just gives me laughs. But on Facebook, Travis says a psychiatrist.
Do it now.
You know what? I think that's what bartenders are anyway. I think they're therapists. They will listen to all your things. And when I was in college, I wanted to just drop out of college and become a bartender. And my mother told me I could. And the day she told me I could do that was the day after graduating from Northwestern.
Wow.
Dora Lavette Tiggs on Facebook says, I was always curious about long distance truck driver.
Y'all got some tangible dreams. Do it now.
Right, exactly.
Look at your CDL right now.
Well, the price of gas, I'm not sure how people are doing in terms of these transportation jobs. Z Walker, Facebook, a literary editor or agent. I know a lot of people that would sign up with you right now, Z. If you did that, you would have a whole lot of people just signing up with you because we don't have a lot in this business of people who look like us. Reggie Barnes says, I always wanted to be a DJ like Tom Joyner for real. And so what are you doing about it? Or what are you going to do? Or are you the one at the party now that does the DJing and, talks up the records, hits that post,
Reggie needs to hook up with Party Bus Ruffin.
Let's
start there.
Let's make that connection happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Hairstylists and they're also therapists and they sit and listen and counsel and talk to people. I remember Juanita used to do a lot of that.
Although I got one who does more talking than I do. So
that's never good.
That's interesting, huh?
That's never good.
Because normally they are the ones that listen and, but she's a talker. So, but God bless her. She's so politically astute and, on top of current affairs and everything. So, we have great conversation. Until I put my earbuds in.
That's like them barbers who talk. Barbers talk, but they stop cutting when they talk. And man, let me tell you. And I told the guy, man, he can ball. Now that dude, he can play. Boy, I tell you.
And you can shave some heads. Come on.
Right, exactly. I was like, quit talking to this dude, man. No, what I'm saying is, if you ever watch LeBron, how could you ever think that I'm like, that clipper should be on my neck, dude.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
but you don't want him that emphatic when he's on your neck either.
Exactly.
All right, so thanks everybody for indulging me in thinking about these. I love our friend Rance Greer, who is a photographer, an incredible photographer. He and his wife are also in the rehab business.
Yes.
They do incredible work. If you look for them on Instagram, they do great work, and you see their projects, the beginning all the way to the end, and that's something that just really just thrills me, and that's something
Yeah.
that
His wife
I
just
watch.
had a birthday. They
Yeah.
came through the Arlington Club when I was there
Oh,
with you
nice,
all.
nice,
Yeah. And they
nice.
do great. They do great work.
Yeah,
He's very handy. He can make these little dog houses and all type of stuff. Yeah,
it's
that's awesome.
he's really great. He's a
Yep.
one creative man out of the Detroit Rants. So good on them. All right, let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. Please go to SybilWilkes.com to subscribe. It is absolutely free. And we do what we learned from Tom Joyner, which is to super serve the African American community. And we do it with the help of a great group of people. And namely, this young man right here, Khameron Riley. Let us talk about the same old with the 2020 census results.
Yeah, so the census results have come back, and it looks like that there are a couple errors on the census. It appears that white people were counted about 5 times or they were overcounted 5 times as much as Black, Indigenous, and Latin American folks. And how that happens is that sometimes you'll get people with like dual residencies. They live at 2 addresses permanently, or you get people in this case who just didn't show up and complete the census. And we know a couple years ago that Donald Trump launched a smear campaign against the census to purposely undercount people. He was telling folks that if you sign up for the census, the government has access to your personal information. If you sign up for the census, ICE is going to show up at your door and question your residency. And that scared a lot of Latinx folks into not participating in the census to a point where now we have drastic undercounts of Latinx folks and Native Americans than it hasn't been in the 2010 census, and which leads to the amount of funding people get for certain things
in the communities.
Yeah, which is crucial to the Native population whose reservations exist on federal funding. So it's a little heartbreaking to see that smear campaign was super successful, but
and that's mentioned the pandemic.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And, according to the pandemic, Donald Trump called for the census to end early, whatever that means.
Yep.
So it was a mess, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel here where now civil rights activists have sort of galvanized to think of what a modern census would look like, because now it seems that going door to door, knocking on people's doors, hoping that they answer might not work as much anymore. And how do we maintain accuracy of data? So we're looking to see what 2030 looks like. Hopefully, if we get an improved census, because it's really important, especially as we're experiencing this next Black Great Migration. We want to be able to track, where our ancestors are moving. Yeah, as we come up from the South, along the Midwest, and abroad, Black people are starting to move, and we want to be able to track where it is that they go, so that our cultural anthropologists, people in our HBCUs, they want to be able to figure out just what's happening with us. So yeah, that's our census.
I would love to see you and like Damon's son, Damon Williams, to be a part of that change, in order for us to, as we work now, we have enough time to kind of establish a new way of getting this data and making it a part of our lives, so that we are truly counted. I think, just canvassing for a friend running for election, that way of getting people out to vote, it doesn't work any more than, going to someone's home and saying, does so and so still live here? Or and because of the virus, nobody wanted to open their doors if they had to. And certainly, people are very covetous of their information. And so, and we apparently didn't do a good enough job in explaining to them what is the necessity of this? What do I get from this? And we're seeing it now, the necessity of it. We're seeing the benefits of it in as far as the state houses of government, the state senate of government, where they are redrawing the maps.
Right.
No matter how many people are in those areas, the maps are being redrawn to the benefit of the white constituents.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And
And they had a campaign in Illinois. I was one of the spokespersons to try to get the word out, to explain that it's about the money, it's about the schools, it's about the infrastructure. You know, it's tax dollars, it's money that's basically lost when you don't, do what's necessary. So let's get on that now. We're already 2 years into the next decade,
right.
So it's the time is now, as you stated.
And we're going to feel it this November with the midterm elections. We're already seeing it. Thank goodness the Supreme Court is ruling in the affirmative for some Democratic parties in the states of like North Carolina and Khameron. I don't know if you can help me with that, but there were at least two that were before the United States Supreme Court saying that the newly redrawn maps, which favored the Democrats, should stand.
I want to say one was in like Pittsburgh or something.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Might have been Pennsylvania. Yep. And they are seeing the contrary in states like Georgia, Texas, Florida, and getting those maps drawn up and handing them out and let's go and let's vote and forget about this. And Texas is really feeling the effects of that.
The good news is for Black people is that we were undercounted at the same rate we were in the 2010 census.
Yay.
So yay. We are consistent.
We're still undercounted. No more, no less.
Right.
We maintained.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least especially in certain areas where they got to come up with a better system. Like they could come to Chicago and say, okay, from Cermak to the edge of Cook County, Black people. Just say that's all Black.
Let's just call
period.
it.
Yeah, that's all Black. So count the households, divide by a certain number, give us that number because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So funnily enough, that's what people are trying to do, Damon, is that they're saying, okay, we have existing population data. Let's compare the census data with that and then account for the margin of error. That's what people are trying to do. So it's funny that you thought of that. I think your next career choice should be urban planning.
I think you guys should do this together for the great state of Illinois. One of you run for governor and let's get this started. Okay.
So if I hold a public office, I'm shutting things down. Like I'll play no games.
And if I hold a public office, I'm going to make it mandatory that any mayor of Chicago's clothes fit. That's my first order of business.
And
a tailor.
Who knew that Robert
tailor.
Hall was still in business in Chicago?
Man, I don't care if you went to Montgomery Ward. Go get some clothes that fit.
Anthony Brown, get up there. Go while you're recuperating. Right. Have you guys had any conversation amongst yourselves, your friends, about a federal gas tax holiday?
And I floated the idea to some friends of mine, and that would be incredible. I would get empty cartons and like stock up on gas, and just hoard it.
Well, people are doing that now, except they're robbing people of their gas. Because gas prices are so high.
And people are going around putting holes in people's gas tanks and stealing gas. But how do you know I got gas? You go into my car, you're gonna be practicing because I'm close to E at all times, so you ain't gonna steal much from me. But I think even when that's almost like a political stunt because I don't think it'll make a huge dent in the pump price. From what I heard about what the gas tax from the federal level is. But any gesture that makes this thing better will make things more palatable because people are going through it. Between the gas being so high, they should at least find a way to lessen the gas for commercial traffic. So truckers, airplanes and trains and things that are moving our supplies. The supply chain is already stressed there was a trucker who posted a video of him filling up his tank on diesel, and he said it was over $1,000 to fill up his tank. And he said he had a refrigerated truck that carries milk. He said, so what this means is your milk is about to be $11 a gallon, because this is how much the gas is. So we got to do something. I think commercially, it should be some type of reprieve for them to at least to begin it, because we can at least choose to take public transportation or not go so much, but the trucks got to roll, and that should be on. That's something I would put in my platform if I were to be the governor or the czar of America.
So not only the federal gas tax, Damon, Governor Williams, but the state gas taxes are also they're higher than the federal, right?
And Chicago probably has city tax too.
Yeah.
And we have a pollution fee.
And there's that. And we're also paying a fee now for Uber Eats and DoorDash drivers, so that they can continue to keep up with the cost of gasoline. The average price of a gallon of regular unleaded gas on Monday was $4.32. Right.
And we all know the average is low in most cases.
Right. The federal gas tax is 18.4 cents a gallon for regular gasoline and 24.4 cents for diesel fuel. The governors of several states, most of them Democratic, Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, are supporting a proposal to halt the federal gas tax through 2022. There's a bill in Congress. It's not making much movement. And why? Because the Republican senators overall are not in favor of the federal gas tax holiday, including one who lives in a fuel-heavy state, Louisiana. The oil pumping business is big in Louisiana. This Republican, John Kennedy, not the same, he is the Republican senator running for re-election, and he says that it is a gimmick and that it's not going to make a difference. But I say, what little bit can help will help. Okay, whatever it is, let's try something. And for you to say this, Mr. Senator, I would like to see you the last time you went to the gas station and filled up your big tank. Oh, I'm talking about your car. And saw what the end result was, and how people have to look at the numbers on the gas pump and figure out, can I do this? Can I fill this tank? Or should I not fill it all the way so that I can go and buy some food or other necessities for my family?
Some overpriced groceries on top of it. Yeah. Now, this is a trying time for us as a people, and any compassion that could come from the government structure should be done. It's just that simple. I mean, it's not like they didn't see it coming. President Biden said it's about to hit us at the pump. So why not be proactive and do something for the people? Or give out federal gas cards. I don't know. Right. Something has to be done, especially for those. If you got to choose between, a sandwich and a drive to work, it's rough, man. It's really rough. So what happens is, like, a person might have had budgeted, let's say $50 for a pay period for their gas, and now $50 is not going to make it through to the next check. So. Now that's $70, and that's that it might not matter to a senator, but to the average household or
and think about the people that get paid once a month.
Yeah, right.
And parceling these things out, and things are going higher as the month goes along.
Indeed.
One of the other things I'm very proud of that we're doing in the newsletter is in National Women's History Month is celebrating our everyday sheros amongst us. And today's story has generated a lot of response, and rightly so. Celebrating everyday sheros, this superwoman is Arika Kaysen, who is near and dear to the hearts of the What You Need to Know staff. And as an executive with the American Heart Association, the mother of 12-year-old twins, as well as a very partner success story with her husband, and as well as being a sickle cell survivor. And she handles all of these things with great aplomb, and she is our superwoman today. in the What You Need to Know newsletter, and with a smile as big as the All Outdoors and a heart even bigger. And we salute you, Arica, and thank you for all that you have done for us, as well as if you'd like to tell your story, like we had Michelle Summerall tell her story about her mom in a previous episode, please go to Sybil at SybilWilkes.com. Submit your story. It doesn't have to be long, 250 words or so, and telling about those everyday sheros that are in your life. And we would love to print it in our newsletter. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So now that is the What You Need to Know newsletter. Let us go to entertainment.
Cool.
And this is something, last week, we were talking about the fact that Russell Wilson had been traded to Denver. Yeah. And while I was talking about it, there was a crawl that came across my screen and said the trade is off. And they came back and said they made a mistake. But Russell Wilson and Russell Wilson's like, oh, the hell, it's not off. I'm going to Denver. As a matter of fact, the wifey and I are already in Denver. And Russell Wilson and Sierra have already started to make their home in Denver. As a matter of fact, they visited a Denver hospital just a week after joining the Broncos. So they're wasting no time in getting to know the charities and other things that are going on in the city of Denver, and they are showing people they want to be about it. And they visited patients at a Denver Children's Hospital. He and his famous wife were spotted at the medical facility, talking with kids and taking photos. And the news is blaring about what a great couple this is. And they are known for their charities and for their generosity. And so they are out there already in sporting. Sierra was already sporting his new team jersey and the colors, and a sweater with the word Broncos on it. And so the philanthropists are there, and although they have been traded, their desire and their want to help people wherever they are and to be a part of that community is shining through.
Yeah, why not keep Russell Wilson, knowing just like the kind of player that he is, the kind of person that he is, to our community? You're not just getting an all-star quarterback, you're getting a brand.
Yeah. For sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how happy other teams are, or other quarterbacks who are hoping to go with a big name team until Tom Brady said about that retirement. I'm ready to come back to Tampa.
And what that tells me is the man was home with his wife and kids for 41 days. And decided it's more fun to get chased by large black men and thrown to the ground. So, and he's married to a supermodel. So, ladies, if you got a man that's going to work and coming home every day, applaud that man, because Tom Brady didn't last 41 days with his kids and supermodel wife.
40 days and 40 nights, David. And nope. Mr. Tampa Bay people, okay, I'd like to come back.
And I already wrote the contract.
And Deshaun Watson said, what the hell?
Man, not him. The guy that bought Tom Brady's last football.
How about that? And the price.
Yeah.
He bought what, for $500,000?
$500,000, and now it's estimated to be worth only $50, because that's not the last touchdown ball.
Yeah, wow. Damn. Just like that, man.
Yeah, I would be at Tom's house, like the fan. When De Niro played the fan, I would be right at Tom's house, like, hey, man, you got to buy this up off me, bro.
And that's just like one check for you. So come on.
Or you might not make it to the stadium. This might be your last touchdown ball. Because if you lost $450,000, but that just goes to show you, why would you go out and buy a dirty old ball? I wouldn't.
Right, yeah.
Who's spending $500,000 on dirty old balls? I know I wouldn't.
Okay, I would be one with you. And I think we're still talking about footballs. Okay.
Yes.
It's now time for us to move to Yogi's Jewel, our daily inspiration. Someone smart once said, forgiveness is more for you. Learn to forgive.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
in the long run. But at first, no. At first,
the memory is long, Damon. The
Yes.
memory is long. But the road.
But learn to forgive. That's a wonderful jewel, Yogi.
That's right.
Thank you,
That's right.
Yogi.
So thank you guys. I appreciate it as always. And Damon, we look forward to your announcement about dropping your album. So please let us
Indeed.
know.
You
Absolutely.
shall hear. I'll see everybody in New York at Caroline's, and JJ Williamson will be here in Chicago at Riddles.
Oh, nice. He's a great guy. He's a great
He
guy.
is.
He's a great talent. All right, Khameron, happy birthday to your mama. We will see you guys later. Take care. Aloha.
See you at the family den, Mama.